This program, based on recent scientific information, presents one possible scenario of what might happen in the near future. Imagine an international crew has been selected to explore Mars and set the stage for a permanent base. In old movies, such crews were brave. Needle-nosed spaceship.
Unlike the case in many old science fiction movies, it's actually cheaper and more efficient to send a bunch of material to Mars on different rocket ships. If you try to put them on one rocket ship, it turns out that that ship has to be enormous and probably nuclear powered. And there's all sorts of dangers and problems associated with that.
Kill it!
In most real-life scenarios, the Mars astronauts will land and leave in separate
A flat area, but also near geologically interesting features.
One thing that mustn't go wrong is the HABS landing technique, called aerobraking.
Aerobraking is the art of using friction of the Martian atmosphere.
Mars. Now, I could use rockets to gently slow this thing down and land at the desired spot where this duct tape is. But that would require a lot of energy, which requires fuel, and that's heavy and expensive. Instead,
You let
we
that
can
mouse
let the
go?
Martian atmosphere slow the HAB down. See that?
Let him go?
Gently slowing down, and only near the very end, when it's getting very close to the surface,
Look at it,
would we
pregnant,
turn on
can
some
still
retro
catch
rockets
mice.
and use a balloon parachute called a balloon to bring it to the desired location, like that. Now the danger is that if the angle of entry is wrong,
Kill
or the
that
speed
little
is too
part.
fast, then in fact friction can overwhelm the heat shield, the aeroshell, and the HAB can burn up like a meteor in the Martian atmosphere. And even a slight miscalculation can lead to a landing that's too rough or in the wrong place.
There's about 1,000 things that have to happen. You come in on a heat shield, you're going quite fast. You use the friction of the atmosphere to help slow you down the heat shield. The heat shield needs to be jettisoned. You need to aerobrake through the atmosphere as much as you can. You need to pop out a parachute to slow yourself down. You probably then need retro rockets at the bottom. You need to cut the parachute and get it away from you. This is extremely difficult, among the most difficult things there is to do.
Paws on his tail.
Then, a few miles above the surface, something goes very wrong. The HAB hurtles into a Martian dust devil of terrifying proportions.
Dust devils on Mars are vortices in the atmosphere, so it's rapidly spinning columns of air that lift dust off of the surface and loft them into the atmosphere.
He throws it in
Now,
the
on
air.
Earth, dust devils may only be a few
You're gonna
hundred
lose
feet
it.
high, but on Mars they can be 3 to 4 miles high, so they're simply immense structures.
The dust devil engulfs the HAB, throwing it dangerously off course. Tracking stations from Texas to Kazakhstan are following the descent. But Mars is so far away, it takes 18 minutes for the HAB's transmissions to reach Earth. Already crashed. But where? And are they alive or dead?
There's only one thing you can do at launch, and there's only one thing you can do at landing, and that's pray.
Somewhere on Mars, the astronauts are alive, but communications are out. They can't talk to Earth. Worse, the dust devil has taken them far off course.
When humans first land on Mars, it'll be a truly magnificent event, one of the most historic events ever. But you know, our astronauts crash landed.
The mouse is too
They're
scared to
gonna
run.
slip out, not knowing where they are, what's going on.
Rip its head off. Come on.
The sun would be about half as bright as it is here. The intensity of sunlight at the Martian equator is about the same as that in Norway on Earth or Alaska.
You chicken shit.
In shadow,
On an ancient technique, celestial navigation.
The Martian moons, Phobos and Deimos, are both in equatorial orbits. The point at which they rise, that would be due east. The point at which they set would be due west. At their zenith, to the extent they deviated from being directly overhead, that would tell you how far you were from the equator. The time of rise and set, if you compare that to an almanac, which you might have in your computer, would tell you your longitude.
The results
I
are
knocked that
shocking.
freak
They
right
have
in the head.
crashed in the eastern half of the largest canyon in the solar system.
If you don't kill him, I'm gonna.
Discovered in 1971 by the Mariner 9 probe and named
Want
for
that
it,
thing running
Valles
around here.
Marineris is just south of the Martian equator, several times as deep as the Grand Canyon, and as long as the
Kill it.
continental United States.
Do it now!